The Boston Celtics stay alive in this series, and they take Game 3 on the road against the New York Knicks. Going into Game 4, they will only be down 2-1. They won this game 115-93. What were your initial takeaways?
The Celtics are truly the definition of live by the three, die by the three. In the first 2 games, they missed 75 threes. In this game, they shot 50% from the three-point line. If they're going to do that, they can compete with literally any team, and they're showing why they are the reigning NBA champions.
Yeah, anytime that you can outshoot a team from three-point range 20-5, that's going to put you in a good position to win that basketball game. Peyton Pritchard was amazing off of the bench today for the Boston Celtics. He outscored the New York Knicks bench by himself, and there were pretty decent games from Tatum and Jaylen Brown as well. They outscored the Knicks in the first quarter 36-21, which was pretty much just spelled the end of the Knicks for this game. There was no comeback in Game 3. Now, the New York Knicks definitely have some problems, but before we move into that, I did want you to expand potentially a little bit more on what you thought from the Celtics, from Boston, about the Celtics performance.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the Celtics can do. If they're going to play at their best, it's when they're shooting the three ball consistently and they're making their threes. They are the highest clip shooting three-point percentage team in all of the NBA, and you can see why Jason Tatum can make his three. At one point, he'd only made threes. I think 4 out of his in his first 9 field goals, all of them were threes that he made. He made 4 of them, and then Jaylen Brown is a good three-point shooter. Derek White can shoot the three ball. Peyton Pritchard, obviously off the bench, can shoot three-pointers. So when this team is rolling, they can shoot the three ball, and that is something that they can do consistently. And if they're not shooting 25%, I mean, it looks like they're one of the most unstoppable teams in the league.
It feels like if they're shooting well, they can get to that A- to potentially A+ level basketball. And I don't know if the Knicks can match that type of play right now. Let's move to the Knicks. What were some of the concerns that you had from them in this game?
Well, it was apparent in the first 2 games as well, but this Knicks team, besides going to Mitchell Robinson, who can't shoot free throws, doesn't have much of a bench. They play their 5 starters a ton of minutes, and then from there on out, they just try to rotate in Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa got in this game. Former Miami Heat legend Cameron Payne was in this game for extended periods of time and only played 8 minutes. And Miles McBride gets in and out of the game, but for the most part, this bench runs maybe 2-3 deep, and the starters they play well up to a point, but even in this series, they haven't played particularly well. That's why they've been going down to 20-point deficits. Josh Hart has played okay on the offensive end. Jalen Brunson didn't have a very good game, and then OG Anunoby was nowhere to be found in this game, only 2 points.
Yeah, this Knicks team feels like they're kind of undermanned in a sense. And now a lot of teams are going to be undermanned against the Boston Celtics, but they're kind of without Kristaps Porzingis for this series. Whatever's going on with his illness, I thought I read somewhere where it feels like it's not being diagnosed correctly. He's just feeling like he's zapped of his energy. He's certainly not the same player. So you would think that the Knicks, even though their bench isn't in use because of Tibbs, as well as just simply isn't one of the better ones right now that we're seeing in the playoffs, would be able to combat the Celtics and their strength in numbers kind of mode that they're in, but they still aren't able to do that. I'm glad that you mentioned the starting lineup a little bit because I did want to talk some about Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Brunson still ended up putting up 27 points in this game, but it feels like Karl Anthony Towns hasn't exactly been an X factor as far as what this team maybe potentially could need from the offensive end. I don't know if you would agree with that point or not.
I maybe push back on that just a little bit just because I think in games 1 and 2, that's definitely could have been the case. And I mean, I guess in a game where they were down 20 for the majority of it, it just felt like he gave them a little bit of extra something today. Got fouled a couple of times and got some and ones, and then had a triple-double in this game. So I don't think that he was particularly the reason why they didn't take this game. I just don't think that they had enough. And games 1 and 2, though, I think he was definitely lacking a little bit. So he definitely needs to be an X factor, though, if the Knicks want any chance of winning the series, because the fact that they're just not getting that much production from almost anybody on that team, which is super unfortunate. Because OG Anunoby, he can score the basketball, but he just isn't right now. He only had 2 points, like I mentioned earlier. Mikal Bridges started scoring before the fourth quarter today, but it was too little and just not enough at any point. Jalen Brunson is not shooting very well in this series. I think he came into this game shooting 38%, and it just in general, they're not getting enough production from it, feels like anybody. So I would hate to single out Cat, especially because he is grabbing offensive rebounds, and it never feels he's doing his role. Like, he's the second best player on this team. It feels like he's playing like the second best player on this team.
Yeah, so I will agree on the rebounding thing. He had a double-double today, but and in all, excuse me, in the last 2 games against the Boston Celtics, but he shot 5 of 18 from from the floor in this game and has only made 1 3 in this series. So if I'm looking for somebody else to support Jalen Brunson, I don't mind going to Josh Hart, and I don't mind expecting more out of OG Anunoby, but I just want to expect that a guy that we, or maybe not we, you know, because I'm not a Knicks fan, but like the Knicks are probably thinking, and Knicks fans, that we traded Julius Randle and pieces for Karl Anthony Towns to potentially try to rise to the occasion for the Knicks to be that second best scorer. And I just don't think he's done it. Certainly, though, his impact on this team is definitely has been there for this series, but there was no difference in the rebounding today. And while he may be doing that efficiently and well, I would kind of think that it needs to be better on the offensive end just in general. But let's get into potentially looking ahead for game 4. Is there a lean that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bet against the Celtics after this game, and especially given the fact that in the first 2 games they were up 20 in both of those games as well. I think the Celtics tied up, and we're going back to the Garden 2-2.
Yeah, I think the Celtics tied up as well. I did also want to bring up a point that it feels like there's a little bit of that confirmation bias, because you can argue that the Celtics should be up 3-0 in this series, but the Knicks still earn those comebacks, especially on the road. No matter how bad Tatum played in the first couple of games, the Knicks still earn that. And it's kind of very similar to the Cavs-Pacers series, where it feels like when that higher seed gets that win on the road, that they have the momentum there. So it feels like a little bit of the confirmation bias, right? We feel like the Celtics are the better team. We feel like they've had leads in these games and they shouldn't blow it. But I think it should be, noted that the Knicks, if they win this, if they win game 4 and they're at home, could potentially win this series in 6 games or 5 games even. And I don't want to discredit what they've been able to do either in this series.